A really big new law has just been passed in Papua New Guinea. It's called the Vagrancy Act. And, it's set to change things up in our towns and cities. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this law is all about and what it might mean for you.
So let's just get right to the point. The big question on everyone's mind is, could this new law actually force someone to leave a city like Port Moresby or Lae and send them back to their home province? Well, the short answer is yes, it absolutely could. And we're about to explain exactly how.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Before we can get to the impact, we really need to understand what this thing actually is. This isn't just a proposal anymore. The Vagrancy Act 2024 is now officially the law of the land, and believe me, it's a big deal.
Now have a look at this. This is what's really fascinating. The bill passed in Parliament with a vote of 80-1. I mean, wow, that is an absolutely overwhelming majority. It just goes to show you how much political momentum was behind getting this law passed.
And here it is. This makes it real. We're not talking about a draft or an idea anymore. This is the actual document, the Vagrancy Act 2024. It's been passed, and it now applies to every single urban center right across Papua New Guinea.
So that begs the question, right? Why now? Why was this law created in the first place? Every law is made to try and solve a problem, so let's take a look at the official reasons the government gave for bringing in the Vagrancy Act.
Well, according to its supporters, it all boils down to these four main issues. They see it as a tool to fight what they say is rising crime in our cities, to make people feel safer in their own communities, to get a handle on the growing number of people moving to urban areas, and, very specifically, to deal with repeat offenders.
And here's the main champion of the bill, NCD Governor Powes Parkop, explaining it in his own words. Now, the key phrase you need to hear is court-issued exclusion orders. This is important because it's not just about police rounding people up. It's designed to be a legal process to remove people who repeatedly break the law from a city and send them home.
Okay, so that's the why. We get it. But now for the really important part, the how. How does this law actually work on the ground in practice? We're going to break it down for you step by step so it's super clear.
Right. It all starts with the police. This new law gives them the power to step in if they have what's called reasonable grounds to believe a person is involved in illegal activity, showing disregard for the law, or just generally engaging in antisocial conduct.
And if the police do act, their end goal is to get what's called an exclusion order. This is the heart of the entire law. It's an official order signed by a judge that forces a person to leave town and says they can't come back for up to 6 months.
So a really crucial thing to understand is that it's a process. It's not just one person's decision. First, the police identify someone. Second, they can arrest them or get a summons to make them go to court. Third, that person has to appear before a judge. And finally, and this is key, it's the court, not the police, that has the final say on whether to issue that exclusion order.
Now, as you can probably imagine, a law this powerful has kicked off a huge discussion. Not everyone is on board, and it's so important that we look at both sides of the argument to really understand what's going on.
So here's a quick look at the two main camps. On one side, you have the government and supporters like Prime Minister Marape. They say this is a vital tool for law and order. But on the other side, you have the opposition, and they're arguing that it's discriminatory, that we should just be using the laws we already have, and that it could be used to unfairly target certain people.
Opposition Leader James Nomane really summed up the criticism pretty powerfully. He's worried that a law that can send people back home from the city could create major divisions between us and, as he puts it, even threaten our national unity.
Okay, so we've looked at the law, we've looked at the big debate. But let's bring this all back down to earth. What's the real-world impact? What are the actual direct consequences of this act for an ordinary person?
I just want you to look at this number for a second. 5 years. That is the maximum penalty, 5 years in prison, if someone gets an exclusion order and they either refuse to leave or they try to come back before their time is up.
And we're not just pulling that number out of thin air. This right here is Section 7 of the actual law. It's written in black and white. Disobeying an exclusion order could mean imprisonment for up to 5 years. This law has some very, very serious teeth.
So, are there any ways around it, any exceptions? Well, the answer is yes, there are a few. The law does allow someone who's under an exclusion order to go back to the court and ask for it to be changed. You can see the reasons here, things like urgent medical needs, family problems, or even getting a confirmed job or a spot at a school. So there is a little bit of flexibility built in.
We really hope this breakdown has helped you get your head around this new law, because it's so important for everyone to understand. Good information is power. So if you found this useful, please hit that like button, subscribe to beautiful Papua New Guinea, and most importantly, share this explainer with your friends and your family so that everyone in our community can be informed too.
And that leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it? This new Vagrancy Act is a really powerful tool, and it's designed to bring order. But will it actually lead to the safer cities that its supporters are hoping for? Or could it, as its critics are afraid, end up creating a more divided nation? Well, only time is going to tell. Thanks for watching.